The company and also my name.
Thank you.
To visit the city of Bethlehem with a focus on the Church of Nativity. This is our plan today. So we are going to talk a lot about Christianity, also some other stuff. And my name is Omri, O-M-R-I. I know it's difficult to pronounce, but he was a king in the Bible, so I have to carry his name with pride. There is a very special myth in the Jewish tradition of the binding of Isaac. Abraham was the father of the nation, was ordered by God to sacrifice his beloved son Isaac, Yitzchak. Avraham and Yitzchak are the Hebrew versions. And knew that when the Jewish people came back, returned to the promised land, was in the end of the 19th century, in the beginning of the 20th century, one of the things they did was planting forests. It bridges between one piece of forest to another. Look carefully, no road. The minute the people find some money also for the benefit of the wildlife. The city of Jerusalem, do you see in the wall of the old city, there is something that looks like a tower, a gate, a closed gate. This is the gate of mercy, the golden gate. You will enter the city through this gate that will be open for you and enter Jerusalem from the east. That's why there are quite few churches that commemorate events and people who are connected to Jesus. The tower, you can see the minaret you see on the top of the hill. This is the Church of Ascension, where Jesus to commemorate the ascension of Jesus to heaven, up there.
It's so cold. It's freezing and it's raining. So I apologize if I'm shaking.
Jesus was captured by Last Supper, and they came here, and Jesus knew that this was his last day as a free person. And he asked the apostles to come with him to pray. However, they were very tired, they couldn't make it, and he was left by himself. He had to pray by himself. And in the morning after, the Roman soldiers came and capture him. You remember the scene of with Judah from Iscariot that kissed Jesus as a sign that this is the person they had to capture. So this is the Church of Agony. Another church you can see just in the slope. This is the church that looks like a cupcake, small church. There's some people there underneath. This is the Church of Dominus Flavit, Master Cry. According to the tradition, this is where Jesus sit when he first came to Jerusalem and he saw Jerusalem from, and he cried because he knew what is going to be the future of the city. On the other side, you can see on the slope you can see the cemetery. The cemetery, a huge cemetery that is dated back to the first temple period, and it's still used today. It's considered a very luxurious burial place because of what I told you outside. Dedicated to the city of David. We are driving along the south wall of Jerusalem. the Dung Gate because it was like a valley there where they used to take the garbage off. This is a section of the same ancient commercial street that is dated back to the Byzantine period. Let me just tell you that the Byzantine period was the first Christian period in the life of Jerusalem. When Jerusalem was under Byzantine control, Christianity was very common here. Many remains of, especially from the Muslim period. However, what you see, the base of the wall, it goes to the Roman times. Beginning of an arch. Can you see this arch? This was the main entrance to the compound. Now it's closed, so it was like that. There were stairs where we are that goes up like this on a bridge, and they enter the compound from here. People are referring to a particular train that we are going to take. On this train there are 14 stations. 5 of these stations are a part of the Holy Sepulchre. This will be our next target. Here in Israel, most churches were built as memorials. Used for praying.
See, if this is a prophet Jesus took, they shouldn't put anything on it.
Every station along the Via Dolorosa is marked with like half a circle, physical person. Yeah, he was not very strong. I mean, in his muscles. Carry your own death on your back. It was like quite a mission. And sometimes he fell. Sometimes people come to help him. And in this case, something written in the Bible, when the Roman soldiers saw that it was difficult for him to carry the cross, they called Simon. We know that he might be. We have reason to believe that he was a pilgrim from Cyrene, and came to. It all happened in Passover, so many pilgrims were here, and they asked him to help Jesus to carry the cross. And even though, he was volunteered by the Roman soldiers, since he helped Jesus, he's considered as one of Jesus' followers. Another thing I would like to show you here, it comes from an ancient place, and they said that what you see on this stone is the handprint of Jesus. He had to lean because the cross was so heavy.
The handprint of Jesus.
Jesus went outside the city. Now there is something interesting here, because they made here archaeological excavations and they found the remains of the wall that surround Jerusalem in the Roman time. And you have to understand that Jerusalem is different than in terms of the territory. So the wall was here. This was the wall, the east wall. And we know that the Golgotha was here outside the wall. It was an old quarry that the Roman used for crucifixion. And in order to get there, Jesus had to exit from the wall. From a gate that used to be here. Like other stations that we do not really know about them, in this case it might be the real place that Jesus had to take on the way to the Golgotha. another group, and this chapel is a Latin chapel. Let's move to the other one. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most important chapel in the Golgotha. This is the Chapel of the Crucification. And as you can see from the decoration, this chapel belongs to a different group. This is a Greek order. You can see the bedrock over here. As I told you, it was a rocky group. And there was these people are praying for. There is a hall, a small hall, that according to the tradition, this is where the cross used to stand. So this is the Chapel of Crucification. You may take photos, and we are getting down through another staircase.
Anyway, that changes the sacrifice of Jesus. Okay? So we're right beneath Golgotha. It says crucifixion is right over us right here. This is also the rock of Golgotha. Why is this place called Golgotha? Golgotha.
Now, from the cross, Jesus was carried. First of all, I have to tell you, it was Friday evening, and
This is where Jesus' body is. I'm getting to touch this sacred spot right here.
no, only guys, I'm here.
This is so big.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are facing now, this is the Holy Sepulchre, Jesus' tomb. Of course, originally it was just a burial place, which is empty now, and they built on top of it.
The city of Bethlehem, it's a well-known city and it's very famous. In the Old Testament, it was mentioned as the city of David. According to King David, was born in the city of Bethlehem, grew up here, and then he became the king of this area. While in the New Testament, it was mentioned again as the birthplace of Jesus. 2,000 years ago, Joseph and Mary, they're living up north in Nazareth at the time of Caesar Augustus, when he makes the decree that everyone should get back to their hometown to register. And that's what makes Joseph getting back to the city of Bethlehem, because he was descending from the family of David.
I'm in Palestine. Here's a little taste. Tours inside eating, because I'm not going to eat their food. But just wanted to let y'all know, yes, I'm over here. Yes, it is cold as I'll get out, and it's raining. And I'm okay. All is well. And I'll keep you posted.
Okay, friends, smell the cave. We're now in the city of Bethlehem, and this is the cave of birth. In your imagination, goes for a wooden stable, according to your hometown, but in fact in Bethlehem city, they were using these kind of caves for living or as a stable. So 2,000 years ago when they came here, they couldn't find any normal house or stay until they found that little cave that used to be as a stable where they gave birth for Jesus. And since that time, it's become one of the most important places for tourists and pilgrims to come here to the Church of Nativity, because over this church is the Church of Nativity. Over this cave is the Church of Nativity. So how we get to know that this is the cave of birth? How we get to know that this is the birthplace of Jesus? And why did they build the church over this cave? Any Christians here? Christians, they mark it as the birthplace of Jesus. They used to put some signs that mention that it's a cave of birth, the place where Jesus was born, such as like these kind of carvings that you can see it here and there. And according to the tradition and according to the oral history, they keep telling that this is the cave of birth. According to this, Hadrian the Emperor in 135 AD, he converted this place into a temple. So people were coming, praying for that little god that was placed here called Adonis instead of Christianity. So that's why they left it as it is. That's why it was marked as the birthplace of Jesus that used to be converted into a temple. Until then, Queen Helena, the mother of the Emperor Constantine, she advised her son to put the cross on their uniform before going for that war. So they did so and they won. For that reason, she came back here looking around the things that belong to Jesus. She found out, according to the Roman history, that this cave is the cave of birth, which is the temple. She returned it back to the cave of birth, and then she built up the first rectangular church, which is the previous one that you're going to talk about as we get into the upper level to see the mosaic. That's according to the cave of birth. This cave is one single cave 2,000 years ago, but now it's divided in two sides. Divided in the Catholic section, and behind this little wall is the other side of there, which is the long queue to get through it. So basically, Orthodox and Catholics in Armenia. That's why this section is the Catholics. When there is a mass, we're not allowed to be. Usually this section is for masses. As I told you, it just opened 2 o'clock. So when there is booked for masses, evacuated, no one's here just for a mass. That's why there is a lot. And we're lucky to be here that day. Okay, friends? Again, it's a limestone cave. Limestone is easy to work with. That's the way how people were living in these kind of caves. So from here we remember two main things. We remember the birthplace of Jesus. And we remember the second biblical story that's happened here. When the angel of Lord appeared for Joseph, he asked him to take the kid and Mary to fly to Egypt. Because Herod the Great is going to kill all the kids under 3 years old, right? So that's exactly what happened. So from here they decide to move on to Egypt. That's according to the cave. Into your left side, because we're a big group, we can't get through once together. I'll let you alone to take photos for. Is the cave of Saint Jerome, that little cave. That's the place where Saint Jerome, he translated the Bible from Aramaic and Old Hebrew. So we talk about in the past that we got 3 Christmases. That's according to the 3 parties in here. We got the Catholics. This is the Armenian where we are standing right now, and that's the Orthodox. So we got 3 main denominations in the city of Bethlehem. 3 processions per day, 3 Easters, 3 services like today and Sunday. That's why it's kind of busy, and 3 processions per day. You can see in the upper level a gold-plated mosaic returning back to the 12th century, 1162 AD, which is by the time of the Crusaders. And that's presenting the story of Saint Thomas checking the wounds of Jesus. That's one of the most complete walling mosaics that's returning back to the 12th century, according to that. In the middle here we can see the Armenian Altar, which is smaller than the Greek Orthodox one. The Greek Orthodox is under the very important part of it. We call it the iconostas. The iconostas is a holy altar of the Greek Orthodox that's holding the icons. And this one is replaced here in 1541 AD. They bring some carpenter from Turkey and they carve it in that way. 1852, the Russians, they gave more donation to the church and they added the 3 weeks on the wall that you can see right here, and they cover the basic 4 big icons with gold and silver. That we don't have it right now because it's under renovating and cleaning up process. That's why the Italians, they came here in 2013, they fixed the roof, which is a donation of King Edward IV, the King of Britain, 15th century. They donated to the church down to the mosaics and the pillars. Now I would like to explain the whole history as we get there into the middle to see the oldest mosaic that's returned. Just excavated 200 years ago. So friends, the Church of Nativity, it's the oldest church in the Holy Land. It was built for the first time in 325 AD. That's at the time of Queen Helena, the mother of the Emperor Constantine, when she built up the first octagonal church that was surrounded the cave of Bern. But that church was fully destroyed by Samaritans in 529 AD. Samaritans, they make a revolt against Christians, so it was destroyed, covered with dust, until another emperor came here called Justinian. He built up the existing church in 540 AD. So from 540 till today, no one destroyed it. And that's why this is the oldest one in the Holy Land. 612 Persians attacked the Holy Land again, and they destroyed every single church. But when they reached the Church of Nativity, they didn't touch it. The 3 wise men, one of the 3 wise men is a Persian. So when the Persians, they came here, they have seen a mosaic that used to be located in the outer side of this church, shows the 3 wise men. They recognize their tradition clothes, big hat, look like Smurf and tradition clothes, that they say this is our king, so we have to respect it. That's why they left it as it is and they didn't destroy it. So this church is the oldest one in the Holy Land that used to be destroyed only one time, and since the 6th century it's still existing. The upper level we can see the gold-plated mosaics that are turning back to the 12th century, which is by the time of the Crusaders, and only 5 years ago we discovered that it's a gold-plated. Before that it used to be too dark, black, brown and green, while the church were using for the last 800 years candles and fire to light up this place. That's why we couldn't recognize how nice it is until the Italians, they came here with a huge project, they fixed the church, fixing the roof, continued to the mosaics. Then they continue down to the pillars. We have 44 Corinthian pillars like these. These pillars originally from 325, but nowadays we call them the Corinthian tops, Corinthian pillars, because it's including the Corinthian tops that you can see it right here. That was added in 540, and they relocate them in other sides, so they make it a little bit big. That's according to this. Behind you, over here, we can see the original floor, and that's the oldest mosaic that's returning back in the 320s when Queen Helena built up the first church, and that one was destroyed, so it was buried down. By chance, we discovered this in 1936. A small earthquake hit the city of Bethlehem, so with some cracks in the main floor, which is this one, we noticed that there is something underneath. So according to the poor funding and excavating experience, they just excavate a couple of square meters each side, and they left it. And we know that there is something here, we have seen this. But 2.5 years ago, Italians, they continued excavating the main floor, and they opened the biggest mosaics that that we passed by. That one that you can see is the oldest one in Bethlehem. It's a donation from King Khatun, King of 7 AD. He donated to the church, the King of Armenia. So it's made out of oak wood, and that's the oldest one as wooden board. It's time. So friends, now we're moving using another door, so we're going to pass by to get into the courtyard of Saint Jerome. We're going to see the statue of that if you want to take photo, and then we're leaving to see Saint George back. Please follow me, friends. Also here to your left side, that's Bethlehem municipality, which is controlling the city of Bethlehem.
now.
The old city, vegetables, fruits, which is exactly in the middle, and then to the left. There's a huge market there. And this street, we call it the Star Street. This part, that's the old city of Bethlehem. All the buildings you can see around here and houses returning back from the 16th, 17th century, almost like that time. So it's a very old city, and you can see it's still existing and still useful because it's doing in limestone. And that's the idea of having these kind of things, that it can live longer. It's not a wooden house. It's not a wooden one. So that's the old city of Bethlehem, and that's the Star City. The 24th of December, the patriarch should get through this part. That's part of the protocol. Like they have to welcoming with the patriarch through this sort of festival. Walking here in front of the patriarch to the Church of Nativity. That's why it's called the Star Street. Like toured me today in the City of Bethlehem and this big flag showing. Now we're getting down. It's in the edge of the Judean desert, and furthermore after these kind of
demonstration. So and many of them are very famous graffiti artists. Show their identification and their empathy to the Palestinian protest. We're just trying, we're exploring what will be the best way to exit the city here with his stuff. I think this is his work, if I'm not mistaken, just in front of us at the corner. This one.
So, second available.
Yeah. If there were just simple people in this area, politicians who are trying to gain power from this game, so it takes time.